the Micro Effect Broadcasting Network.
Okay. This is Carrie Cassidy from Project Camelot. How is everyone tonight? Hopefully I am on the air and you can all hear me. We have a really interesting guest tonight, so I hope a lot of people are listening out there. And we've got all sorts of stuff going on. Hold on one second. I've got a call coming in here, but I'm not sure what's going on there. At any rate, let me see if I'm on the air with John Hall. Are you there, John? Okay. Doesn't look like he's on the phone. I guess they're trying to reach him, so we'll go through this. At any rate, there's a lot going on in the world today, and a lot going on at Project Camelot. For those of you who haven't already been to our website today, we have a new release out. It is from a new whistleblower, and I encourage everyone to go to our site, and on the front page blog, you'll see the post there. Okay, and it looks like they have gotten contact with John Hall. And John, are you there?
Yeah, Carrie, sorry you didn't get me the first time.
No problem. I'm really glad we were able to connect with you so quickly, and that's really wonderful. What I'll do is give you a short introduction here, just based on what I see is kind of like a bio. And I want to encourage everyone who is listening to go to satweapons.com, SATWEAP as in Paul, ONS.com. That is John Hall's website, and he is an expert. I believe you would say you are an expert on satellite surveillance of individuals. And I've just got a real short bio here. It is Dr. John Hall. He's a medical doctor in San Antonio, Texas. He's the author of a new book called A New Breed, Satellite Terrorism in America. He's a board-certified diplomat of the American Board of Anesthesiology and a member of the American Academy of Pain Medicine. He's also an active member of the Mind Science Foundation, dedicated to the study of human consciousness. He sits on the medical committee of the human rights organization Freedom from Covert Harassment and Surveillance. So that's kind of a succinct little bio there. John, maybe you can go into some detail as to how you got involved in this subject to start out with.
Well, as you said, I'm a medical doctor here in San Antonio, and was dating a girl who began, or engaged to her actually, who began hearing voices in her surroundings and in her head, responding to those voices with out loud conversation. Claimed she was being attacked by things or weapons that she couldn't see. Then her place started getting broken into. She started being drugged with Rohypnol, was a date rape drug, and being raped. This is all along with stalking, or now what we term gang stalking, I actually prefer the term organized stalking because with some people you say gang stalking, they picture the Crips and the Bloods and that type of thing. But just an organized form of stalking where you have various people that are always around your door or looking in your windows or following you to work or following you everywhere you go. It's an inundation. She began having that, and then I began having it. Began getting followed to and from my home to hers. Started writing the plate numbers down, and they all traced back to a PI group, private investigative group, that is owned by a former FBI agent and the son, who's a retired lieutenant colonel in the DOD, and hired nothing but his relatives to do the stalking and the surveillance work, and started looking more into it, talking to friends of mine that I have that are currently with the CIA and with the FBI to find out exactly how it's being done. I knew a little bit about it already, that they could bombard you with voice-to-skull type technology. The other one is elf wave broadcasting, where you hear voices in your surroundings, not necessarily in your head, which is what she was getting, was actually getting both. Finally caught them breaking into her place with putting voice-activated recorders in her condominium, caught her in a drug state screaming their names to get out while they were looking for the recorder, and took it all to the police. And without having enough recall to actually prove the rape, they really couldn't do much with the stalking, and told me that it's not what you know but what you can prove. So the next step was to write a book and start exposing it. And in writing that, found out that it's going on with thousands of people nationwide and even more worldwide.
Wow, that is a really incredible story. The fact that you were involved in it directly is, and someone close to you was also impacted, obviously in a very serious way, is really extraordinary. And then that you had the wherewithal not only to pursue the matter, but then you wrote a book about it. What was your background before this?
I did a little bit of work with the government that I really can't talk about, but was exposed to this type of technology in Nicaragua, along with a couple of other friends. At that time, it wasn't being done with satellite, I don't think, but was being done with AWACS planes. And that's where the initial experience was, and then really never didn't think about it again. And actually, I've another doctor, he's not a medical doctor, he's believe it or not, a doctor of divinity or theology that I do a radio show with, who was also down there, and our paths crossed once again in San Antonio, and I told him what was going on, and he said, well, that sounds like satellite surveillance, and I said, yeah. Has anybody commercialized this? And I got a hold of a friend of mine who's currently with the CIA and said, has anybody commercialized this type of technology where somebody can hire it done from a commercial service, even if you're hiring it from abroad, from England or China or India or somewhere? And he said, nope, it's a weapon of war for use abroad only, under strict supervision by executive orders on intelligence gathering. But then why do we have thousands of people in this country that are all voicing the same complaints? It almost looks like it's probably agency sterile experimentation, not unlike MK Ultra. I'm sure you're familiar with MK Ultra, the early mind control experiments by the CIA.
Absolutely.
They used social outliers. I mean, usually the victims were everyday people. Some people with drug problems, guys that were using prostitutes, what we term social outliers, people that were already slightly discredited in their lifestyle. So when they did voice these complaints that they had people experimenting on them, they were blown off. They were discredited. And the biggest question I get with this is people say, well, if they can get into your head and make you hear voices and see you inside your home with X-ray imaging and forward-looking infrared imaging, then they would be doing it to heads of state and congressmen and CEOs, and in some instances they probably are. But if it's an experimental protocol, that's exactly the people you don't do it to. You do it to the everyday person, the housewife, the guy that's making $40,000 a year, the guy that maybe is using a little bit of marijuana. So that way, when he voices these complaints, they say, well, it's the drug, it's the stress, it's a psychiatric illness, and